Chapter 9. That evening was the one Angelica had rescheduled after the shock of events. Tommy and Angelica headed to the beach. He played in the sand until it was dark. She played with him, but her mind was on something completely different. Angelica couldn't get her mind off the words Petra said. Dante is no killer. He loved that woman with all his heart and soul. The next morning, she headed off to school. She'd tossed and turned all night. Something didn't feel right, and she couldn't put her finger on it. Angelica resolved to spend the day working out what happened to Tina. Tommy walked off with his friends. She started walking. It was something she did to help her thought process. The distraction of going for a walk unlocked something inside her head. Not thinking directly about a subject allowed the subconscious to get to work, bringing relevant information to the fore whilst pushing the irrelevant to one side. Angelica decided that a good walk would be the best way to start working out what had happened to Tina. Angelica looked left and right as she did the day before, but the day before she looked for Tina Gonzalez to see if she was okay. By this time, she knew wasn't okay. Far from it. Further along the street, towards the last of the cars associated with the school run, she saw two women talking animatedly. One of them, the one with her back to Angelica, was the mother of a kid in Tommy's class. The boy was called Jack or Jake or something else beginning with a J. He was a kid who turned up when he wanted. Tommy wasn't totally comfortable around the J kid. Angelica guessed that came from the way he was brought up. Jay's mother had short hair, shaved across the back. Probably a good cut for the summer heat about to come, Angelica thought. But she wore it all year round. She was only just over 5 foot tall, carrying some excess weight that made her look taller than she actually was. The woman opposite her was known for being a money lender at school. She'd approached Angelica in the past, offering to lend her a few €1,000 if she needed it. Angelica declined. The woman introduced herself as Karen. She had the name Frank tattooed on her right arm. She guessed that Frank was the husband. The reputation of Frank and Karen went before them. People didn't mess. Rumours suggested that people who borrowed and didn't pay took a beating or worse from one or the other of them. Angelica had never met Frank, but the size and shape of Karen was enough to frighten most. She was almost 6 foot tall with a physique that reminded Angelica of the shot putters she saw win Olympic gold medals. One punch or a single kick would be enough to scare just about anyone to finding the cash as quickly as they could. Karen stepped forward and leaned her face eyeball to eyeball with Jay's mother. Angelica couldn't help but feel she needed some form of protection. She was around 30 yards away but could see the anger on one face and feel the terror in the body language of the other. Angelica upped the pace and was close enough to intervene within 20 seconds. "What's going on here?" she asked. "Mind your own business," the reply came. But it wasn't from the person she expected. It was Jay's mother who had spoken up. Angelica guessed she didn't want her business on public display. By this time, Karen had turned around and was walking in the opposite direction at some speed. Obviously, she didn't want her business to be conducted in public view either. Angelica guessed that she usually got people one-on-one and in a private place. "Are you okay?" she asked. But it was apparent that Jay's mother didn't want to talk. She shrugged and crossed the street, not thinking clearly. A car screeched to a halt, sounding the horn. Jay's mother flipped the bird and kept walking. Angelica didn't like the confrontation. Something told her that it was about money. What else could it be about? Karen's reputation really did precede her. Angelica knew the person to speak to about deals like this. She didn't want to talk to this slimeball, but she felt she had little choice. She started walking, her skin crawling at the thought of dealing with Laredo Paredes.